This is Mr. Worski, and this is the second screencast of the endocrine system, hence the title Endocrine 2. We left here at the anterior pituitary or the adenohypophysis. The front part of the pituitary gland, which is also called the master gland. Now, peptide hormones can also act as trophic hormones that are produced in this gland. So they produce a lot of trophic hormones that control other glands. Now, this is controlled by the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus controls this, which controls other glands. So that's like this chain reaction type thing. So let's go over the different hormones that are produced by the anterior pituitary. So the first is the adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is a great because it tells you what it does. It tells you that it's a trophic hormone, so it controls something else, and it controls the adrenal cortex. That's the adrenal cortex. So it's ACTH. It's a peptide hormone, and it stimulates the adrenal cortex to produce the hormones that are produced by the adrenal cortex, which is specifically steroids, like testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, and aldosterone. All those things are produced by the adrenal cortex. It also produces growth hormone, GH, which is also a peptide hormone. They're all peptide hormones. Stimulates growth. Now, we can produce this in the lab through transformation. And if you have problems with this hormone, you can have giantism, which is the whole body grows in proportion, or acromegaly, in which only parts of the body grow. So some parts are huge and other parts are normal. The follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, peptide hormone that stimulates the follicles in the ovaries in the Phi individuals to produce eggs and estrogen. Not to be outdone, the FSH in males stimulates the testes to produce sperm. Now, luteinizing hormone, LH, a peptide hormone, it stimulates ovulation and the production of estrogen in Phi individuals. Now, in males, it's not called LH, it's called ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating hormone. And it tells the Leydig cells, which are between the seminiferous tubules that are found in the testes, to produce testosterone. Thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, a peptide hormone. I bet you can guess what it stimulates. It stimulates thyroid to produce thyroxine, triiodothyronine, and calcitonin. Now, thyroxine and triiodothyronine help with cell metabolism, and calcitonin helps with calcium levels. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, I bet you know what it also stimulates, another peptide trophic hormone. It stimulates the melanocytes to produce pigment. Prolactin, peptide hormone, will stimulate the production of milk in mammals. The posterior pituitary, the neurohypophysis, remember, it only stores two hormones that are produced in the hypothalamus. So the two hormones that are produced in the hypothalamus that are stored in the posterior pituitary, antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. ADH is a peptide hormone that targets the distal convoluted tubules. When blood pressure is down and the solute concentration is high, ADH will increase water absorption into the blood, and it causes you to be thirsty. So if you have ADH, you're going to drink a lot of water so that you can maintain or keep that water in your body. Oxytocin is a peptide hormone. Now, it causes the contraction of the uterine muscles during childbirth, menses, and the female or individual orgasm. It causes also the contraction of the ductus deferens in males, and that's when a male ejaculates. It is also thought to be the love hormone. So oxytocin receptors are found in portions of the brain that are stimulated by cocaine. So the more oxytocin receptors you have, they think that the more social you are. So in a way, love can be as addictive as cocaine. The thyroid gland is a bow tie shaped gland on the front portion of the trachea, which is slightly below your voice box or the larynx. It's about 30 grams in mass. Produces both thyroxine, which is T4 because it has 4 iodines, and triiodothyronine. I bet you know how many iodines it has there. Yes, it's T3. Never saw T3 or T4. Both hormones will increase cell metabolism. It increases the production of ATP in the cell, and it maintains normal blood pressure, heart rate, muscle tone, digestion, and reproduction. Now, this is a lipid-derived hormone, so they are steroid hormones, and they are controlled by the thyroid-stimulating hormone from the anterior pituitary. And here is the thyroid. Look at that thing. Don't look at the little pea-sized shaped things. That's the parathyroid. That's next. Now, if you have a hyperactive thyroid, it's called hyperthyroidism. You're nervous, you're hyperactive, you have insomnia, which means you can't sleep, and you have weight loss. If you have it should be hypoactive thyroid. Hypoactive, that should be O instead of an A there. Hypoactive thyroid. You have hypothyroidism, you're lethargic, no energy, you sleep all the time, you have weight gain. Now, if you have no thyroxine since birth, you are a cretin. That doesn't mean that you're from Crete. It means you're a cretin and you have mental and physical retardation. Now, the third hormone that is produced by the thyroid is calcitonin. This is a peptide hormone. Now, calcitonin will decrease blood calcium levels. So it decreases the levels of calcium in the blood. So it targets the intestine to decrease calcium absorption. So then the calcium will go out in your feces. It targets the bone, so it increases the calcium that is added to your bone. And it targets the kidneys to increase the calcium that is excreted from your body. The next gland is the parathyroid gland, and this is the 4 pea-sized bodies that are on the thyroid. And there's one parathyroid per lobe. Now, parathyroid produces one hormone, just one. It's either called the parathormone or the parathyroid hormone. It's a peptide hormone, and it increases blood calcium levels. So it will target the intestine to increase the calcium absorption into the blood. It targets the bone, so the bone will tear the calcium off your skeleton and put that calcium back into your blood. And it targets the kidney to decrease the calcium that is lost by excretion. So if you take a look at the antagonistic hormone, which would be calcitonin, calcitonin will decrease blood calcium. Parathormone increases blood calcium. Antagonistic. You also know about JGA and ANF. Right? They are also antagonistic. And here's the parathyroid hormone, which are the 4 shaped right there. Boom, 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 and boom. Boom, 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 boom. The pancreas. Oh, the pancreas. And the islets of Langerhans. No, that is not a destination for a vacation. The pancreas, 20 to 25 centimeters in length, about 80 grams. 99% of it is an exocrine gland. It produces the digestive enzymes for the small intestine. They travel to the small intestine through a duct called the pancreatic duct. So 1% of the pancreas, though, is an endocrine gland. So scattered throughout the pancreas are the islets of Langerhans. Now, there are 4 types, but we are only concerned with the alpha and beta islets of Langerhans because they produce antagonistic hormones. There's the pancreas. It's behind the stomach in the first turn of the small intestine, right below the liver. Right there is the pancreas. Now, the alpha cells produce a hormone known as glucagon, which increases blood glucose levels by breaking down glycogen. So glucagon will target the liver and muscle cells, break down the glycogen, which is just a way to store glucose, how we store glucose, so that you can produce energy. Beta cells produce insulin, you might have heard of it, and it targets cells to increase the movement of glucose into the cells. So actually, this will decrease blood glucose levels. There's also an increase in glycogen synthesis with insulin. Now, both are peptide hormones. You should know that because I told you that insulin has 51 amino acids. We talked about that before. If you are hypoglycemic, that means you have a problem with glucagon and you have a problem with low blood sugar. When your blood sugar gets too low, you cannot increase it. You might get hangry and shake, and when you get hungry, it's a really bad thing. So you just need to increase glucose consumption. Hyperglycemic, you need insulin. You have insulin problems. So your blood sugar is too high, and you need to reduce your blood sugar by getting that glucose into your cells. Now, if you have problems with insulin, you have diabetes. Now, there's two types. There's type 1, which is juvenile onset, which is caused by an autoimmune reaction in which your body attacks the beta cells and kills them. Don't know why. If you have some ideas, we can talk about that in class. Type 2 is adult onset, usually caused by weight and genetics. Now, if you have a lot of sugar in your bloodstream, you're going to have water flow into your blood to dilute the sugar because of the osmotic gradient. The more blood volume you have, the higher your blood pressure. The higher your blood pressure, the harder your heart has to work, and that's not good. Now, I hope you can see that glucagon and insulin are antagonistic hormones, which means they work opposite each other. Glucagon will increase blood glucose levels, while insulin will decrease blood glucose levels. On top of the kidney, not on top of spaghetti, but on top of the kidney, there are two glands in one. There's an adrenal gland. You have the outer adrenal cortex and the inner adrenal medulla. The adrenal cortex is stimulated by ACTH and produces steroids called corticocortex steroids. Corticosteroids. There are two types. There are mineral corticoids, which affect the cellular concentration in the blood, like aldosterone. We talked about that in the excretory system, what aldosterone does. And here is the hat on top of each kidney, and we get the cortex and the medulla. The glucocorticoids, I want to do that, affect glucose metabolism like cortisol, corticosteroid, testosterone, and estrogen. Cortisol is often referred to as the stress hormone. Hopefully your cortisol is not too high because of my class. The adrenal medulla produces epinephrine, which is a modified amino acid, and norepinephrine, which can affect blood pressure. Now, epinephrine primarily is responsible for your fight or flight response. Increases respiration, increases circulation, increases your desire to pee and poo, will cause your pupils to dilate, cause your body to already start sweating. You're ready to go. You're ready to go, man. You're ready to go. And this is controlled by your hypothalamus, a direct link from the hypothalamus to your adrenal medulla. We're going to stop there because we're running out of time. And next time, we're going to start with the ovaries and testes. You will not have a testy tomorrow or quizzy.